want to do it or you want me to do it?
Why don't you go ahead?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fanatics of Film. And Mark.
Take 6.
How's it going, everybody? Thanks so much for joining us here. We're just saw this last episode of Better Call Saul. Fantastic show, as you know, as we all know.
Season 4, Episode 6, Pinata. Really entertaining episode. Lots of really cool storylines happening all at once. It's all coming together nicely.
That's the first thing that I wanted to point out is that there's a point where we're actually have to guess because there are so many different timelines. It now seems so far. Can we figure out that how many timelines are there currently existing? So we have black and white mall Saul.
And that's post Breaking Bad, the black and white intro at the beginning of each season.
Right, and so that's we'll call that the Cinnabon Saul or Cinnabon Better Call or whatever, and then we have, of course, this other time 92 because they mentioned what was it regarding Henry?
Well, they mentioned the Oscars for that year because Jimmy's working at H&M still. And they're doing the
mailroom, right?
The Oscar poll in the mailroom. So it was Sin of a Woman and Howard's End. So that was like 92.
Yeah, that was great. What did he say? He's like, if Al Pacino's going to hoo-wah his way to the Oscars, right?
And then, of course, when the show started, when we saw flashbacks of Slippin' Jimmy after H&M with his buddy who ended up dying. So that would have been like late 90s, early 2000s. I forget. So yeah, this is a lot more than Breaking Bad. This one's jumping all over the place.
So the point that I was getting to is that we literally have to guess which timeline, which of the 5 timelines is this, you know?
Yeah, they definitely, they don't have the title pop up saying, 1992 or anything like that.
You just have to figure it out.
You're just going to have to figure it out. And I'm cool with that. I like kind of that non-linear style. So
I love it too. Yeah. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's and it doesn't set it up. You literally have to figure out, and it's for the diehard fans, the people who are like, okay, his hair is this way. You said specifically because his wig.
I can kind of tell the wigs, but I don't necessarily think it's for the diehard fans. I think it's for anybody who's watching the show. It's just it's a really interesting way of telling the story because it's sort of a blank canvas. They can continue to tell the story in the chronological order, but it's a way of just adding more to the character's history, and so it kind of justifies or shows you some of the choices that they make and why.
And it enriches everything.
Yeah, especially how the relationships, have, like with Kim and Jimmy, that goes back decades. So or over a decade at least. So, because we're still in the early 2000s. So yeah, like at least 10 years, which is kind of cool because first few seasons you know they know each other, but you don't know for how long where that all began. So it's kind of cool. It's really cool. Yeah. No, go ahead.
Which I said was I said before we were talking about the quality of Jimmy's and Kim's relationship, and I was saying that it's my favorite, one of my favorite TV couples that I've seen of all time, and you were just because of at least because of the sincerity that's involved there. There's a lot of sincerity, and I believe that Saul's sincere to a certain point, but there's still this dark desire for him to do these criminalistic things.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think where Kim's concerned, it's it's a good relationship. She's really there in it for him, and I'm just not convinced that Jimmy is.
Well, in this episode, we find out she wants to pull away from their whole idea of having their own business together, and so I mean that's a kind of a big a big hammer to the nail in the coffin or whatever. For me personally, because of his overwhelming anxiety that we got when he goes over to the kitchen and says, "I'm just gonna hit the head," and does his thing, and of course the amplified sounds of everything. That to me, that's one of the biggest parts of this episode that stood out to me.
Well, see, all 3 storylines that were happening on this were all compelling, but they were almost all better than the previous. Like the first main storyline really is with Kim and what she wants to do, kind of move away from Mesa Mesa Verde, and still be a part of it, but not really deal with it because she wants to help people. She wants to do good things. And then you've got the storyline with Mike and Gus and getting the German engineers in, building the entire layout.
That is going to be really interesting to see how that develops and which Germans they may have to weed out. Is it a Kai?
Kai kind of seems like he's going to be a problem for Mike anyways.
Yeah, it seems
but
that way.
We'll see. I'm sure maybe just one good punch in the mouth or,
And just I couldn't help but think during this episode, because they're going through they're going from the very beginning of the building of this giant super lab. So, and this is something that Gus is, of course, it's his mastermind. It's something that he's thought about for a long time. It makes you wonder: is he thinking crystal meth now? What is he thinking? That's my first question. Is he thinking of that he wants to make crystal meth specifically, or is he thinking?
Well,
because we saw it with Gail. Because
that's what the lab is for.
Right, right. Specifically because he has Gail working on a recipe. But the other thing that I was thinking about is that more of a larger scope is that just the fact that because this is going to take 10 months. Is that what they said about 10 months?
Well, they said 6 months, but Mike estimates between 8 to 10 months.
Okay, so that's a long time, and that just simply means that they're really going a lot longer with this show. I mean, we've got a lot longer more.
Maybe you never know how quickly they jump through time on this show. But what I did like, just the aspect of like, okay, how are they going to house all these German engineers who are going to be working in secret for months on end, building this secret underground lab? It's almost like a James Bond story. It's not, but it's got that element of like, I don't know. They had to build that entire. What they build for these guys, I want to go and live there. Just. Without them, I mean, there's a working bar. The fridges are always stocked. Basketball, core foosball. They have several recliners with a projector so they can watch movies. They've got music. Like, I don't know. It's pretty cool setup. They even had an indoor little soccer spot.
I hadn't seen that. I've forgotten about that.
Yeah, you saw it. Mm-hmm. I know. But and then the last story, of course, with Saul or with Jimmy. Oh man, that was. All good. All the subplots in this were so good.
Definitely the best part of this episode, I think. Yeah. Definitely because it was the most, definitely most surprising, and we get to see Huel take off his mask there. Yeah. And that are we sure, absolutely positive, that's the first time we see Huel in this show?
Yeah, I think he's the guy that Jimmy hired to help him rob. What was it? 3 episodes ago? Rob the doll. Steal the doll from the company he had applied for work for. And
was he the other guy?
At the copier. The guy that he had hired, the guy with the beard.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that...
He probably met Huel through him.
Well, yeah. That's how Jimmy met Huel, was through that guy. Okay. So that scene was really intense. I think the last 8 minutes of this episode was probably some of the most rewarding I've seen this season. Like, it just, because it's all coming together bit by bit.
The whole what I loved about it was that it was shot upside down. Like, you see a lot of these upside down shot. Well, it's you see
from
them
their
right
perspective,
right from their exactly.
Which
was really cool. It's a very interesting take on it.
No, I was hoping that he had that Jimmy had a plan when confronting these kids. That was very clever.
Me too. Well, that was the first thing I said, right? When he's running off in his jumpsuit, or in his Adidas gear, just running off. I'm like, I hope he has a plan. I mean, it seemed like he did. Yeah. So he had two, plan A, plan B type of thing.
Yeah. I definitely felt like this was something he'd worked out because he didn't. His car was just right there. Why was he running so far away? It's like, oh, okay. That was good. A little revenge plan, and it tied into the previous episode after they had mugged him, and he was talking to Kim like, if this was a few years ago, they would have known better than to mess with him. So I thought that was really.
That's right, because cool. he did say that they would have known not to mess with him before, and so they set that right up. The other thing that was a real kind of a tearjerker was, speaking of the figurine, was the old lady passing, and him wanting to be like. Missing the service and wishing that he could have been there. Yeah,
the lady from the retirement home a couple of seasons ago when Jimmy was trying to pull that scam. But
and he watches that old episode of the old commercial that he had filmed. Yeah,
and that was a nice reference to its own past too. I like that. It's kind of interesting. This show's sort of all over the place in its storytelling. But I don't know. It's very exciting. It's very compelling television. I look forward to it every week because they just seem to be getting better and better.
Yeah.
And it's nice that they are bridging the gap to Breaking Bad by introducing or reintroducing so many characters. I mean, some of that was going to be obvious from the beginning. You pretty much knew, okay, eventually Jimmy's going to have to meet Huel, and like how does that all come together? But I really wasn't expecting characters like Mike and Gus and stuff to pop up. And of course, I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
But I give this episode a very high rating. This is very good.
And when I try to get people that aren't into this show, when I try to get people into this show, I tell them, okay, so all your favorite characters from Breaking Bad that died, they're actually all alive now. Anyway, that's my
a lot of them
selling
have the
point.
potential to pop up. You never know.
Yeah, and everybody does.
I have a feeling. I think most people do that before the show's finally over. Walter White will make an appearance.
I think that some of this thing is going to end up being contemporary of Breaking Bad, at least to some degree, to at least showing some of the scenes from Breaking Bad in different perspectives, and then continuing on Saul's deeper story in those experiences.
Depends on. I think that depends on how far they decide to go. Because if they just decide to just lead up, like to Breaking Bad, where he first meets Walter White, okay, fair enough. But if they wanted to keep it going, as long as it was continuity worked, they could. But I have no idea. I don't know what Vince Gilligan's endgame is with this show, other than Jimmy becomes Saul Good.
Yeah.
So Saul Goodman.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of some other things that happened in this episode.
Mike was really entertaining in this episode. I liked his confrontation. Not so much confrontation, but kind of his best attempt at being honest and open with his feelings to his daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
And this is a very good scene. There were a lot of really good, I think there were, 6 or 7 conversational pieces in this episode between two people, like when Jimmy goes to visit HH&M.
Yeah, that was a great scene too. When he and Howard is just like, "F you, Howard." That was
Howard's still kind of feeling bad for himself, and he basically, I love how he gives him the motivational speech, probably because his name is in the company. His brother works so hard to get HH&M that he doesn't want to see Howard just wallow and lose it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is a legacy.
He's giving him tough love, even though he sounds like a total dick or whatever. But he's giving him tough love.
It's not like there isn't any love lost between those two, but it's still kind of nice to know that, deep down inside, Jimmy has he does care at least about the company and the legacy, I'm sure, of his brother. So, of Chuck. Although even in this flashback, we see that Chuck just has no real respect for Jimmy.
Yeah.
It's kind of harsh, but still, just adding the layers of emotion.
Yeah, and it's like I've said to several people on Facebook about this. We were talking about this, and because about our post and just talking about it, and in general, people are just like, yeah, Howard's just this bastard, and he deserves this. He deserves to be feeling. Anyway, I did feel some sympathy for him last episode, but anyway.
Oh, he's an arrogant prick for sure. Howard's definitely one of the least enjoyable characters. So I like the actor, I like his performance, I like the character, but he's a character you love to hate.
Yeah,
because he's just you've met arrogant, well-to-do pricks like that before. So to see him get knocked down a peg and have suffer some humility and remind you that they're human is always good. I don't necessarily know if it makes me hate the character or like them. It just more or less adds more relatable qualities.
So we haven't seen Nacho for 2 episodes now.
Yeah.
So that just leads me to hopefully he's okay. I'm hoping that he's okay. I mean, he was kind of bleeding out last time we saw him.
Yeah.
And just, getting some help from his dad. Any predictions on that regard? What do you think? Do you think he's going to pull out okay from this one?
I think he is. He's probably just recovering. I did, another subplot we forgot to mention was Gus visiting Don Hector.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, my gosh.
Giving him this really long story that's basically an analogy to what he's going to do to Don Hector
Yeah.
with the animal, which I forget what it's called. Do you remember?
He said I don't remember what he said. It was I just remember
Size
distinctly
of a small
size
house
of a,
cat.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Eating trees because Gus was poor, and the whole story, the whole dialogue, it's very well done. Giancarlo Esposito is always fun to watch.
yes. Do you remember the
again-
essence of the story? Like just basically stringing someone along, keeping them alive. Basically.
Yeah, it ends. Yeah, and yeah, so that was interesting because he's in a way he's threatening Don Hector, but we're telling him what's really going to happen, but in a way that's not so direct. Even in a private conversation with somebody who is in a coma, Gus is still very reserved and like cryptic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not so cryptic. You get it, but he's just not very direct, and he's menacing.
Yeah.
He's really menacing.
Yeah. But one of the most interesting aspects of that scene, to me, was when it pans over to Don Hector's hand, and you're waiting for the hand to move.
Is it going to move?
And
Is it going to do one of those?
And you're sitting there for like a good 30 seconds to 45 seconds of that, and it doesn't move, so it's bizarre.
Yeah, but I mean, he's going to wake up.
Right.
If you've seen Breaking Bad, and if you're watching this show, I really think you should. But obviously he's going to wake up. I wonder if that was foreshadowing that it's going to happen before the end of the season. So that'll be interesting because I really don't think they're going to take this to a really long running series. I have a feeling we're in like the final stretch of its
You think
run.
so?
And, yeah,
What,
I mean,
two seasons tops, maybe one?
one or two, because I mean, God, it's already caught up to like in length of episodes to at least the first 4 seasons of Breaking Bad. I know the first season of Breaking Bad was only the 6 episodes, but nonetheless, it kind of feels like we're just starting to get into sort of, at least that's what I've been gathering, is we're really building into the elements of what's going to be coming in Breaking Bad. So I feel like we're getting close to.
I can see
where
them.
we're going.
Yeah, I can see them stretching out a whole
end of the
season of the German guys. That's one thing. Like I could see them really developing that, and then maybe even developing more of Lydia and the relationship between Lydia and Mike, maybe a little bit. I don't know. But I could see more of that happening. Maybe 2 more seasons tops. So, but
So it'll be interesting to see where they go. Always, I say that every episode. It's always interesting to see where this show's heading.
quick predictions. I was talking to a couple of people about this before. 2 people whom are my favorite characters on this show, but I'm curious to see what you think about them are. The predictions of Kim Wexler and Nacho. I think Nacho is probably going to die. I hope that this is not the situation of how he dies. I hope that he at least gets to go out in a blaze of glory or something to that effect. But I think Kim is just going to take off. She'll take a better job. What do you think about those 2? Nacho and Kim, basically.
I think I don't think Nacho's going to make it through the end of the series. I don't know if he's going to make it to the end of the season. I mean, I think he'll make it to the end of this season and go a little bit further, because his character, out of all of the characters, besides maybe Gus or Don Hector, his character is sort of underdeveloped compared to Kim and Jimmy and Chuck and their history. So I think there's still more to go in that story. Eventually Kim, I mean, she's definitely going to go her own way. And I think we're starting to see that, because it already seems like she's got nuances when, like, you could tell that there's a strain in the relationship between the 2.
Yeah. Do you think that she is going to die, or do you think that she'll just leave?
No, I think she's going to leave.
I think having her leave, it makes you wonder. It's like, what's going to be more tragic? Just having her leave and having her be apart and still out there in the lawyering world, in the world of law, or having her actually die, which would be more of a detriment and not much more of an effective role in his demise.
The dying thing, that would just be too easy.
Too much? You think so?
It's too easy.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like in real life, their relationship will crumble, and that'll have an effect on it. But she'll be out there. She'll be a success. She'll partner up with this company. Her name will be in the name.
What do you guys think? What do you think will happen to Kim and to Nacho. Do you think Nacho is going to make it through this season? I mean, well, he'll make it probably through this season, but do you think he's going to make it one more season or a half season? And then what do you think is going to happen to Kim? This has been the Fanatics of Film, and my name is Ben.
I'm Joe.
And have a splendid evening or morning.
Like and subscribe.